Neil deGrasse Tyson, a very cool scientist and popular science communicator indeed. He is often quoted discussing various complicated theories. So let's listen to a popular clip circulating the web recently. This is Neil, comparing the shape of Earth to a pear.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. It gets wider in the middle. So Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere, it's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby is a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So, it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level.
Many have taken this as proof that science agrees with the idea that Earth does not look like a perfect sphere from space and that it clearly has a more unregular shape. The claim is that pictures we see from space have been rendered to resemble the perfect circle we have all been shown multiple times since primary school. People have now started to question the status quo and are recognizing inconsistencies when watching scientists discuss the subject. Now let's listen to a question that was recently posted on Reddit. It perfectly explains the contradiction.
I have a question. Tyson first says the Earth is an oblate sphere, then that it's also pear-shaped, and then concludes that cosmically speaking, it's in fact a perfect sphere. Maybe I'm dwelling on semantics here, but doesn't a pear have a very distinctive shape? It's definitely not what I would call a perfect circle, or even anything close to an oblate sphere. So that being said, how accurate are the blue marble images of Earth really? To my knowledge, every single image of Earth has been altered in some way. Most pictures are a composite of multiple images from satellites. I feel like a dummy asking this, but I'm trying to get a better understanding of what our Earth looks like from space.
This is a great question. What did Tyson really mean by pear shape? Let's now hear the scientist's answer to this question.
Okay, let's be blunt.
Yes, Neil is absolutely correct in saying that the Earth is technically not a perfect sphere, and that it is wider at the equator than at its poles. That being said, on a cosmological scale, the Earth can be considered as a sphere. Indeed, if you consider that the distance between the deepest depths of the Mariana Trench and the top of Mount Everest is only about 20 kilometers apart, and that the Earth is over 12,000 kilometers wide, that's actually pretty smooth. This 20 kilometers distance would be considered undetectable surface roughness, as you cannot actually see that small of a difference from space. But as Neil pointed out, there is also the abnormalities of the planet itself. There are actually a few known effects at play here. Firstly, there's a fattening at the equator due to the Earth's spin, like a dancer's skirt that flies out as she spins. The Earth's middle is a little wider at its equator. This is why the Earth can be described as an oblate spheroid. Bear in mind that popular images we can find online of this deformity are in fact hugely exaggerated. In reality, the distance between the equator to the poles is only about 21 kilometers, which is similar to the maximum variance from the surface roughness. 21 kilometers is a tiny distance in comparison to the actual size of the Earth, and absolutely impossible to see by the naked eye from space. The second thing affecting the Earth's shape is the fact that the Earth is geologically heterogeneous. That means that some areas of Earth are denser than others. This creates a variable gravitational field, and some areas will be held in a little more tightly. This is what results in a more complex shape we refer to as the geoid, again hugely exaggerated compared to the actual size of Earth. This is where the reference to a pear shape comes in. It's because the Earth is technically a bit longer at the North Pole, and the South Pole has a dimple. Again, consider the scale of the images we see of Earth from space. Looking at an object over 12,600 kilometers wide, the human eye would never see a difference of 20 kilometers from one side or the other. This is literally a 0.0015% variation from one side to the other. That's small. So, to be precise, the complex shape is there, but is so difficult to even measure that it is not even practical to consider it anything else but a circular sphere. In conclusion, all of these are relatively small differences on an object that big, seen from that far away. Planets can be assumed as spherical for most purposes.
So there you have it, folks. What do you think? Do you believe the scientists? Or is this all some elaborate ruse? Let me know in the comments. And as always, please subscribe and have a fantastic day.